Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're going to take a grand tour of the incredible, diverse, and just absolutely fascinating geography of India. Okay, so get this. India holds just 2.4% of the world's total land area. I mean, think about that for a second. It's a pretty small slice of the global pie, right?
Well, that small slice is home to nearly 18% of the entire world's population, making it the most populous country on the planet. So you've got this immense landscape, and we're going to dive right in.
So our journey kicks off way up in the far north with the Himalayan crown. We're talking about the mighty Himalayas. And geologically speaking, they're kind of the new kids on the block. They're actually still growing. But they act like this colossal wall, controlling the climate for the whole subcontinent.
Now what's really cool is that the Himalayas aren't just one giant mountain chain. Nope, it's actually 4 distinct parallel ranges, and each one has its own personality. You've got everything from the icy, towering peaks of the Greater Himalaya to those beautiful, lush green hill stations like Shimla and Manali that are tucked away in the Lesser Himalayas.
And this brings us to a really fascinating little geographical point. You see, India's highest peak is K2, but it's located in a disputed territory in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. So the highest peak that's completely undisputed within India's current borders, that's the magnificent Kanchenjunga over in Sikkim.
Okay, so let's head south from those massive mountains. As we come down, we hit the fertile heartland, the Great Northern Plains. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this is one of the most fertile and densely populated regions, not just in India, but on the entire planet.
So you're probably wondering, how did this massive, super flat plain even get here? Well, it was literally built over millions of years. All that sediment, or alluvium as it's called, was carried down from the Himalayas by 3 legendary river systems: the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra.
And don't think for a second these plains are just one uniform, boring thing. No way! They're actually split into 4 totally distinct belts. You've got the Babur, this rocky area at the foothills where rivers literally disappear underground, and then you have the super fertile Kadar, which is right along the riverbanks.
So the key thing to remember here is the difference between Bangar and Kadar. It's really simple: old soil versus new soil. Kadar is the new stuff, renewed by floods every single year, which makes it crazy fertile. Bangar? That's the older, less fertile soil you find a bit further away from the rivers.
All right, let's keep heading south. Our journey now takes us to the ancient plateau, the Peninsular tableland. We're talking about the oldest and most stable chunk of land in all of India here. It's actually a piece left over from the ancient Gondwana supercontinent.
You know that quote, "A plateau is like a table"? That's the perfect way to think about this place. Unlike those jagged young Himalayas, this region is a massive tableland. It's raised up, for sure, but it's ancient and has been flattened by millions and millions of years of time.
This timeline, wow, it really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? It just goes to show how incredibly ancient this part of India is. We're talking about a landscape shaped by massive volcanic eruptions and erosion hundreds of millions of years before the Himalayas were even a thing.
And here's a wild fact for you. Get this. The very seat of modern Indian power, the Rashtrapati Bhavan, the president's residence in Delhi, it actually sits on Raisina Hill, which is the northernmost tip of the Aravalli Range, one of the oldest mountain ranges on the entire planet. It's this incredible link between modern politics and super ancient geology.
Okay, so we've done the mountains and the plains. Now let's check out the edges of the subcontinent, the coasts and the desert. We're going to look at the long coastlines on the west and east, and of course the Great Thar Desert in the northwest.
And what's fascinating is that India's 2 coasts are like night and day. The western coast is narrow, it's rugged, and it's what geographers call a submerged coastline. And that's exactly why it has so many amazing natural harbors. The eastern coast? Totally different story. It's wide, it's gently sloped, and it's been built up over time by these massive river deltas.
So why is the Thar Desert the most densely populated desert in the world? I mean, when you picture a desert, you probably think of a vast, empty wasteland, right? But the Thar is totally unique. It supports a surprisingly high population, about 83 people per square kilometer. That is just unheard of for a desert. So what's the secret?
Well, life here is possible because of some pretty incredible adaptations and, human interventions. You've got a unique river, the Luni, that literally disappears into the sand. You've got super hardy plants. But the real game changer? That's the Indira Gandhi Canal.
It is truly the region's lifeline.
All right, for our final stop on this grand tour, we're heading offshore. We're going to explore India's island outposts, the Andaman and Nicobar and the Lakshadweep. And what's so cool about these is that they have completely different origin stories.
So check this out. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal, they're volcanic. They're basically the peaks of a mountain range that's mostly underwater. Then you hop over to the Arabian Sea, and you have the Lakshadweep Islands. They're biological. It's this stunning collection of coral atolls built by tiny little marine organisms over thousands of years.
So if there's one key thing to remember about these islands, it's their dividing lines. The most famous one, by far, is the 10-degree channel. It's just what it sounds like, a channel of water along the 10-degree latitude line, and it neatly separates the Andaman Islands in the north from the Nicobar Islands in the south.
So, let's pull it all together. We've gone from the world's highest mountains down to ancient plateaus, across some of the most fertile plains on the planet, and out to unique coral islands. I mean, India's geography really is a story of epic, incredible contrasts.
And this chart really gives you a simplified view of the whole thing. Just look at the sheer dominance of the Great Plains, a massive 43%. That right there tells you why the country is such an agricultural powerhouse. And you can also really see the significant chunk that ancient plateau takes up too.
So, what we've done today is take a journey across the physical map, a land of contrasts, born from geology. But it all leads to a much bigger question, doesn't it? How does all this, these mountains, these rivers, these plains, how does this geography continue to define the destiny, the culture, the economy, and the future of over 1 billion people?